News from Adam Schefter earlier today about Jake Haener, the Saints' presumably third-team quarterback to this point after Spencer Rattler took the starting reps when Derek Carr went down last year, and the Saints go ahead and draft Tyler Shough, and then Derek Carr retires. So that feels like it leaves Jake Haener as the third option for this Saints team. And then we get word that he's got an issue with his oblique. He hurt it during some extra throws earlier this week, and he may not be able to help the Saints or to participate at all until training camp. Now, there are two layers to this story. One is how that impacts the New Orleans Saints quarterback situation, and two is how it impacts Jake Haener specifically. And I think those are very different because I don't believe that Jake Haener has a viable future in the Saints organization. Now, let me be very clear. There is never I shouldn't say that. There is very rarely a time that it's a terrible idea to take a quarterback. Generally speaking, you want to take a flyer on a quarterback, that's probably a good thing to do. Quarterback's the most important position in all of American sport, and it really helps to have one of them. If you don't, you're in big, big trouble. And even if you do have one, having a capable backup on a cheap deal is a good thing to have. The Saints were in quarterback purgatory after Drew Brees moved on. They tried Jameis Winston. They tried Andy Dalton. They signed Derek Carr. But you always felt like they were looking for the next guy. And I have no problem at all with the New Orleans Saints drafting Jake Haener in the fourth round of the 2023 draft. None at all. And he came in, and some of the folks liked what he did at practice and did a little bit of good in the preseason. And when Derek Carr went out of games, Jake Haener was called upon that week. Now, when the Saints had a week to prepare for said game, after Carr went down, they went to Rattler. The reason they went to Rattler, he's way more talented, and the upside is way, way bigger. The odds are neither one of them are full-time starting quarterbacks for a franchise in the future, but Rattler's upside significantly higher than Haener's. Haener is 6'1". He's 200 pounds. He's got an okay arm. He's an okay athlete. He's not a statue. He doesn't have a weak arm. He's just average across the board. Size, ability, mobility, all that. And Spencer Rattler is going to be the backup quarterback on this team, Tyler Shough. I feel very comfortable saying that. I don't know if confidence is the word, but comfortable saying that. And you look at Jake Haener and what his career arc could be in the NFL, and to me, he's a backup. And he has one thing that most teams will prioritize in a backup, and I think is the reason why the Saints went to him when Derek Carr got hurt. It's because he's very comfortable taking the snap, surveying the defense, and doing something easy. And really, that's what you're looking for out of a backup quarterback. There aren't many backup quarterbacks in the league that can come in and just start ripping 25-yard outs and picking defenses apart. When your backup comes in, you kind of need him to steady the ship because the game plan's been put in for the starter, and the starter takes 95% of the reps, and the backup just needs to function. And Haener can kind of do that. You can call it a positive, you can call it a negative. Either way, when you talk about his completed air yardage average, so not the average the completions go when the play is done, how far he throws it before they catch it. In his NFL career, which is not long, it's only 8 games. But that is 8 games. And in 8 games, his average air yardage per completion is 3.3 yards. That, to me, is a backup. You want to throw the little colloquialism, check down Charlie. You want to, however you want to phrase it. I'm just telling you, for me, that's a guy whose ceiling is a backup. And right now, the Saints kind of have a guy who can back up in Spencer Rattler, and you're going to try Tyler Shough. So to me, when we talk about the Saints and how this affects the Saints, I think less than minimally. Less than minimally. The Saints have a second-round pick, the highest draft pick they've taken in 50 years at quarterback, and they've got Spencer Rattler, who they trusted over Haener last year, and who I think is going to compete for the job and be the backup. You got to have a third quarterback, whether the Saints go sign Teddy Bridgewater or Carson Wentz or whoever, whatever, or whether they keep Jake Haener as a third quarterback. I don't really care. I don't think it's very impactful for the New Orleans Saints. Now, as far as Jake Haener goes, this could be impactful for him. Because right now, at this point in Jake Haener's career with Jake Haener's skill set, there is no more important time than training camp and preseason football. That is Jake Haener's job security, because he's not going to get a chance to go out there and prove himself in October. That's not happening. I'd be stunned, or the Saints have had 2 injuries and it's a bad scene. But I think there's a reasonable chance in 3 preseason games that Jake Haener is going to have a chance to go out there and play, 4 quarters of football, 5 quarters of football, maybe? Maybe not, but maybe. He's certainly not going to play 5 quarters in the regular season. And you're teetering on that spot where you can wash out of the league, because you know that there are going to be some portion of the backup reps that are going to be going to the Jameis Winstons now, the Colt McCoys of year after, McCourt. No, I'm looking for the brothers. One went to UCLA, and now I can't think of it. Whatever. It's a McNown. What? McCown. The McCowns. It could not show up.
I was trying to figure out that.
It wouldn't show up in my brain. But those guys were backups for 10 years.
Yes.
And there's a sizable portion of the backup crop in the NFL that is those guys that have been in the league for 8 or 9 or 12 years, and they're taking the spots. Then you've got young guys that have been drafted, just like Haener, and you better find a way to latch on, or you're going to be sailed down the river. And that's where Haener's approaching. It's only year 3, so maybe not. But this is a big preseason for him to kind of prove he can show up, and now he's a little bit compromised and may not be able to help until training camp. Now, look, it's the end of May. There's 2 months until the Saints report to training camp. So he's got time to rehab this and to rest this and to get back. But if you're looking at this from Haener's perspective, it's like, oh boy, this is a bad deal. If you're looking at this from the Saints' perspective, I just don't see it being a big deal at all. Maybe if Card retired and you didn't have a quarterback and you thought it was going to be Haener and Rattler, even though I think that would be Rattler's job to start with. But at this point, with Tyler Shough in the equation, I just don't see any way, shape, or form that Jake Haener is going to help this Saints team. And if he is asked to do so, something's gone very, very wrong with the first 2 guys on the totem pole. So that's the news of the day before Saints OTAs cranked up. They have just finished OTAs as we speak to you right now, so there will be some media availability, and we may get some news for you later in the show. But as of right now, Jake Haener's non-availability is the story of the day for the Saints. Hey, it's Hunt. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.